I consider it a great privilege to be part of the information sections organized by AfterSchoolAfrica.
So how do you finance your master's degree abroad? The straightforward way is that you have the money. But of course, life is not always as straightforward as we want it to be. Then you begin to look for financial assistance. And the first place to look at is scholarship.
I'm mad that I did not meet Kena and Mpower 20-something years ago when I went abroad. Because back then I had to figure everything out myself. But the good thing is I was lucky that I met people along the way that taught me. But everything I did, I could have done it shorter.
Data technology, so it's very important and intentional about the course you're going for, the school you're going for, what you've been doing so far till now for you to want to go and school. It's very important that you're able to, narrate that and provide us all the documents that we need.
All the questions needed to have answers to, I was able to get everything. The facilitators were able to do justice to everything.
Hello everyone. My name is Oyindamola Rasheed, representing Mpower as the Business Development Manager for Africa. I am thrilled to be a part of this event, more importantly because I'm an international student and I am passionate about seeing Africans having access to global education, and being a Nigerian too, seeing my fellow Nigerians also having access to global education. I'm going to talk about Mpower being a funding option for your study abroad, right? But before I start, we'll play a video just to talk about Mpower and then the loan facts of Mpower, right? So, yeah, let's watch and then thank you. Loans to international students looking to study in the US or Canada. So we're focused on North America, US or Canada, right? How do we determine if a student is qualified for an Mpower loan, or who is making these decisions for you to be eligible or be approved or be disbursed for an Mpower loan? It's a big data technology, right? The big data technology will determine your potential earnings and your potential as an individual. So what I tell people is, it's very important that you're intentional about documentations you're providing to Mpower. So for example, you could be asked for your work experience or for your CV, your resume, right? Some people will nonchalantly just write anything, right? Like I said, it's a system that is actually making these decisions. So we need to be very intentional when we're providing this document. We're paying attention to what we're putting in. How can I, stand from where I am and see that your potential in the next 10 years is high enough for you to pay back your loan, or like we know that you will still be relevant in the job market in the next 10 years, in the next 5 years. And I'm sure everybody will be thinking, oh, how can I apply for an Mpower loan? How do I know if I'm eligible for an Mpower loan? How you know if you're eligible for an Mpower loan is you need to be within 2 years of graduation. What this means is if you're going for a master's program, it needs to be 2 years or less, right? If it's more than 2 years, then we would be paying or disbursing your funds for your loan for the later part of the 2 years. So for example, an undergraduate program, right, is a 4 years or a 5 years. So it simply means that for Mpower, you need to be within 2 years. So you should have paid your first 2 years and then we're paying the last 2 years. But for the sake of this event and this program, we're focused on STEM programs, right? STEM program because with STEM program, your relevance in the job market, if you go for example, a computer engineering course, a computer science course, your relevance in the job market in the next 10 years is higher than if you go for like a course in history, right? That might, and then we will not see you as an high value applicant, right? Again, it's a big data technology, so it's very important that you're intentional about the course you're going for, the school you're going for, what you've been doing so far till now for you to want to go and school. It's very important that you're able to, narrate that and provide us all the documents that we need. And also, for you to be eligible, you need to for you to apply for an Mpower loan, we can be seated here and just be thinking, oh, I want to do my master's. I've not applied though. You can be applying for your Mpower loan in parallel to you applying for your school, right? And if you're accepted to a school, you're seen as an high value applicant, you can apply for your Mpower loan. If you've been enrolled to a school, so you started schooling, it's a 2-year program, you pay for your first year, right? And you want to pay for your second year because you can afford to, or because you just need financial accessibility. And request for an Mpower loan to pay for the later part of the your school year, right? And also, for you to be eligible, we have over 400 university partners, right? So you would go through the list of the university partners that we have, ensure that your school is listed there, then you are also eligible for an Mpower loan. Why Mpower really? Mpower is, for everything that you're doing right now with Mpower, you're starting from online, right? It's digital, so meaning you don't have to go and take a document to your local bank, or you have to go and carry your bank statement or any other requirement physically. You can start on your phone and end on your phone. So it simply means that checking for your eligibility, you can start on your mobile. To checking for your eligibility, you can start on your mobile. To getting your conditional offer from Mpower, you would still see that on your portal, right? And to your loan being disbursed, you see all of that process on your portal. The documents that we require, you see, keep on popping up on your portal. So everything that you do is digital, it's online. You don't need to move anywhere, right? And it takes 30 seconds to just check for your eligibility. I think after I talk, a QR code will be displayed where you can scan and you can check for your eligibility. 30 seconds, you can do it right here. And like I said, to check for your eligibility, you need to be within 2 years of graduation. You could just be thinking, you might have not even applied for a school, you could just be thinking of applying for a school. Just make sure that it's within 2 years of graduation, meaning it's either 2 years or less, right? Also ensure that the school you're going for is listed under the school that Mpower is partnered with. And also, indicate if you're just thinking of going to a school and if you've been accepted, perfect, you can include that in your application. All right, so how do we compare Mpower to your local partners and local banks? With the mindset of having to go for a loan, it's sort of like foreign to Nigerians, or should I say to Africans, right? And one of the things that Mpower saw and thought of is we don't want you to feel like you have to give a lot in order to get, right? So it simply means that you don't have to, give up your dad's land or your family's land for you to be able to access a loan. No, Mpower does not require a collateral for you to access an Mpower loan compared to your local banks or your local partners that will say, oh, do you have a collateral? We don't need that. For co-signers, we don't need you to indebt other people for you to go and study. We don't need a co-signer also compared to your local banks. Everything you're doing is digital, so it's online in the comfort of your home. Right here, you can check for your eligibility. Anywhere, you can start your application and you can end your application online. And also, we provide free support letter for visas and I-20. So we understand that why you're going for a loan is for financial accessibility, right? In as much as the embassy is a different entity from Mpower, we sort of like provide support letter to state that we're supporting with the funds for you to go to school in the US or in Canada. So for your I-20, after your conditional offer from Mpower, you can request for a support letter for your I-20. And when you've gotten your loan approval, you can request for a support letter for your visa. And then to all degrees, we're open to all degrees. You can select any degree at all for your Mpower loan, right? You can select that you want to go for any degree. Like I said, STEM is a priority because of the relevance in the job market after 5 years or 10 years. And we have over 400 partnered universities, meaning there's a lot of universities for you to explore. You're not limited to 1, 2, 3. There are 400 in US and in Canada. I think I've mentioned most of the benefits, But I think a lot of questions that people asked was, what's the tenure for your repayments, right? You have 10 years tenure to repay. However, there are no penalties if you want to pay one off, right? But you have about 10 years to repay your loan. The maximum loan that we provide is $100,000 and the minimum is $2,001, right? Our loan covers both tuition or living expenses. It's your choice if you want to do just tuition, but we also cover for tuition and living expenses. A lot of questions I get is, oh, how do we get our living expenses if the loan are being disbursed directly to the school? Yes, the loans are being disbursed directly to the school. No loan amount is going to your bank account or to the partner's account. No, it's going directly to the school. How do you get your living expenses? Your living expenses, most likely your accommodation is in the school or provided by the school. So it will be disbursed to the school, and then you would get your receipt for your accommodation. However, for meals and maybe allowances, you would have that conversation with your financial aid officer of the school, and then you come up with a plan on how you want to receive your money. So you and your financial aid officer of the school will have that agreement, right? So please, let's be aware, loans are disbursed directly to the school. We are open to providing for tuition and living expenses. And yeah, so finding the dream job. So we understand that you need to get a job in order to be able to effectively pay your loan, right? So we have a team called Path to Success team. What this team does is, where it's a team to guide you on how to get jobs in the US. So for example, we are giving you first-hand information on jobs that are available within your province. We are giving you first-hand information on the interviews, the interview questions and answers, how you should approach an interview. So we're providing all that information so that 6 months after school, you should have gotten a job and you're able to repay both the principal of the loan and the interest. But your repayment plan for Mpower is, when you're in school, you're required to start paying the interest on the loan, just the interest on the loan, right? Then after school, you can now start paying both the principal and interest on the loan. When you now think about it, if you are covering your tuition fee and your living expenses, and you're actually working, we know that you're not working the full hours because of the kind of visa you have, but the little amount that you're making, if you're able to pay back your interest during that period, there's really nothing you're spending on because we've covered your tuition and living expenses. So you're required to start paying your interest whilst you're in school. 6 months after school, after graduation, we give you a 6 months break. That break is for you to start applying for jobs. If you notice after 2 months that you're not getting any feedback, our team will call you, will ask you questions, will try to analyze what the problem is and prepare you. So within 6 months, with our expert team, we expect that within 6 months you should be able to get a job and start repaying your loan. That means start repaying your principal and your interest. Okay, the rate on the loan. So for this program, we're going to be focusing on graduate programs, right? With our graduate programs, we have a APR interest of 13.72% after we removed a discount of 0.25%, right? What I tell students is that the assurance of your repayment plan being discussed with your opportunity owner or the customer relations that's handling your account. So there's a repayment plan that will be discussed. So we're not just discussing them without you not understanding what your repayment plan is or what you'll be repaying or discussing how you intend to repay. So there's that plan before your loan is disbursed to your school. But the APR interest rate for your loan is 13.72% for a graduate program. Or what people that have currently used Mpower Loan, what they're saying, you can go on to Trustpilot. We have students from Ghana, Kenya, Nigeria, India, Southeast Asia who have used Mpower Loan or are currently even using Mpower Loan as their funding option for their school in the US and Canada. You can go and read about them, what they're saying about our products, the process, and also the ease of repaying after check for your eligibility. After checking for your eligibility, it takes 30 seconds. You know if you're eligible for an Mpower loan or not. If you're eligible, then you start your application process. Your application process takes about 30 minutes. Then you'll be provided a conditional offer from Mpower. So this conditional offer is stating that, okay, from the information you provided to us, it's looking likely that you would have an Mpower loan, but we'll now require you to upload some documents like for your own country address, your international passport, valid international passport, your high 20, your work experience, so your resume. So we require all these documents, your first degree certification or your transcript. We require all this information. You provide all this information, then we're able to provide you a final offer. When we provide you a final offer, then we can now disburse the loan to your school. Remember, the loans are being disbursed directly to your school. So when we disburse the loan to your school, there is usually the funding in progress, and then we disburse the loan, and then you get, confirmation from your school that your loan has been disbursed to your school, and you can go for your education. In fact, sometimes, because we're partnered with the school, when we send a certification to the school to certify you that you're coming to the school, the loan doesn't have to hit the school account before you can even move to the US. And we have a team that reflects our borrowers. Like I said, I'm a Nigerian and I'm an international student, so I'm able to put myself in the shoes of my fellow Nigerians who are looking to have a global education. So our team, we reflect our borrowers, so we're usually very excited and happy to receive questions or to receive queries from students so that we can support and see how we can implement better in order to support you. And one of our biggest partners is AfterSchoolAfrica, which is why we're here at this event today. They've supported a lot of students. We keep seeing ways to improve and to ensure that we're still supporting students. So big ups to Ekene and team. Mpower is really proud of the work you guys are doing. When we think about and reflect what our Nigerian partners are doing and the impact it has on Nigerians themselves in accessing global education, I mean, it's something that we're really excited about, and which is why I work here today. So thank you. I think I'll be open to questions right now. Okay, so the video is ready. So they'll play the video, and then afterwards, then I then answer your questions.
The school is saying, except I pay the acceptance fee, they will not introduce me to Mpower for the loan, and that are still behind it. Two, second question is, what you're saying, you talk about the undergraduate, masters and undergraduate. I don't know provision for a PhD program. Thank you.
All right. So for the first question, sorry, let me go with the second question. So Mpower provides loans for graduate degree programs and undergraduate degree programs. However, our focus is on graduate degree programs. PhD falls under a graduate degree program. So yes, Mpower provides loans for PhD. Yeah. So for your first question, sorry, please can you come again with your first question?
I got admission to an engineering program in school. But the school is saying, except I pay the acceptance fee,
Okay.
I will not introduce to Mpower. But you say you can be applying the Mpower, you also be applying for school.
Yes, so again, Mpower provides loans for tuition and living expense. Your acceptance fee will be paid by you. So for your tuition fee, we would provide you the loan. So we expect that you will cover your acceptance fee, right? And then we'll provide you the tuition and then your living expenses. So you can start your application in the sense that when you get your conditional offer from Mpower, that's when we require you to upload your admissions letter. So meaning the process for you, checking your eligibility, you really don't need your admission letter yet. And the process for you to start your application to get your conditional offer, you still do not need your admissions letter yet. Until you get your conditional offer from Mpower, then that's when we require your admissions letter. So we're giving you that time period to also work in parallel in applying for your school or applying for an admission till we require you to upload the documents, then you upload. However, we cover just the tuition fee and living expenses.
Hey, good morning. So I have applied to Mpower. So I have some questions based on the issues I have. Okay, so Nigeria's situation is very peculiar, right? One, if you ask me for utility bill, now a house, if you are in a house, the name of the utility doesn't necessarily have to be your own. And everyone expects that your name and the name of the utility bill should tally, and which is not possible in Nigeria. I don't know how many people have houses that, or live in houses that their utility bill is their name. That's one. Then number two, the issue of credit bureau. Empower has to check your credit, right? So for the issue I had with Empower was that I had an issue with my credit. Now, my bank had not updated anything on my account, right? But I went back and forth. Even my name, my address is not updated. That it was that bad. So it took me like almost 3 months. But Empower now said that they could not give me a loan because I didn't have a good credit. Meanwhile, it was because the bank did not update. And then the Empower most of the time, I don't know if there's other credit agencies, but credit bureau, that's where I know that. And then credit bureau, to reach them, is like, it's easier to get America than to reach credit bureau because they have one phone line and you can't even go to their office. So if you have an issue, you have to wait until somebody gets. So now that is a serious issue for someone. I have never accessed loan. The only reason I took a loan last year was because credit bureau, I attended one of their programs and they said, look, having a good credit history helps your loan. And I was like, okay, let me just take the loan and do the credit history. And then that for me was a mess. It messed up my credit because I had never had a good credit. Do you understand? So, and then with Empower, you cannot tell them those things because most times when you call them, they are, okay, send us a mail. There's so many, there's a very little things you can say in the mail. And then, so how do you handle that? Because Nigeria actually has a peculiar situation. So what is the plan? How do you want to sort out that?
So there are other options for you to use. There is your bank statement for you to use, right? However, what you can do is, in that situation, whoever it is that his or her name is on the utility bill needs to write a letter, right, to us to state that the utility bill is from you and is from them, and then you're an occupant in their house, right? Sorry, let me finish.
No, sorry, sorry. Before you finish that, I was going to say that sometimes I don't even know whose name is on it, and then for you to go to PHCN to tell them to change the name, you rather just leave.
You don't know the name of the person on it.
Yes, none of the person who was like 5 people have lived in the house before you got to that house, right? And then they bought the meter, they paid for it and everything. So you don't even know the person unless you want to go and start tracing. No, I don't have that issue because I ended up using my national identification for that, right? I didn't have that. That utility was a total waste of my time because I didn't know who it was. But for people who don't have any other choice, what do they do?
I mean, there are a lot of different options, not just utility bill. Like I said, your bank statement, because you won't tell me that your bank statement is for someone else, like someone else that has used your bank before, right? So your bank statements are there. There are a couple of other options. There are a couple of other options. There is your loan document if you have a previous loan. There's a physical letter from your university. So when you did your undergraduate, you can tell them to write you a letter to, give a proof that you've lived in so place or this is where you're currently staying. So there are a couple of options that you'll be open to. If you know that you don't have access to your utility bill or the utility bill is in the name of someone that you don't know, then go for the other options that are easily accessible to you. I know that off the top of my head that there are like about 8 options. So we've provided you like so many different options to go through. The reasons why we need to validate your own country address. Remember, we're not requesting for a collateral from you. We're not expecting that you leave your land for us, for you to, get a loan. So it would be very unfair for us not to now get the proper documentation in order to track you or in order to access you when we need to access you, right? For the second question on Nova Credit or Credit Bureau, so what I usually advise people is ensure you sort out every problem that you have with Credit Bureau before it gets to the point that you need to do your Nova Credit. So some students have situations whereby they've gotten a loan before, however, they fully repay back the loan, but Credit Bureau hasn't updated that, right? So they would have to go back to their financial institution or their bank to tell, to give them the update and tell them, please, can you update that I have paid back to you, to Credit Bureau, so that it can reflect on my Nova Credit that I have a good rating because I've repaid back. So most of the time, these issues are with the financial institution or partners that you've gotten a loan from previously. We are a very different entity from Credit Bureau. We're a very different entity from the financial institutions that you borrowed from. So we expect that you do the groundwork of ensuring that you clear any red flag that you might have, especially when it comes to your credit rating, your credit score rating. You ensure you clear that with your financial institution, and then ensure that in your credit rating, it's all cleared, right? Because Mpower would not go directly to your financial institution and say, oh, please confirm, though your credit rating is, please can you kindly confirm that this person truly has repaid? No, the person, the entity that we're depending on is Credit Bureau. That's what is accepted for us to, go with. So I hope that answers your question. It needs to be cleared from your financial institution and the Credit Bureau. Mpower cannot come to support or to say that to go to your financial institution and ensure that you provide the right information to the Credit Bureau for us to be able to understand where this person's standing is with their credit rating. Oh yes, you can reapply. You can. That's why you have partners like After School. You can send a message or an email or contact your partner institution like After School to say that I cleared my credit rating. Please, can you support me because I want to start another application? And they will get a response in less than 24 hours on the next steps to take. So usually the next step is to email empower.me@mpowerfinancing.com that you want to start another application because you've sorted out your credit rating. And I've had a lot of students say that credit bureau is an issue, and that's because financial institutions are not doing the right things when it comes to providing the right information to Credit Bureau. So we understand that, and because of that, we've allowed that. We'll give you that breather. So when you come back to us, we then now allow you to start your application with your new, we provide you a new Nova link. I'm sure it was a Nova link you use for you to upload your new credit rating.
Thank you very much. I have two questions to ask. One, you talk about the rate. That rate, that is interest rate, is it totally fixed that even if it gets that 10 years or anything, it does not change?
Yes, it's a fixed rate.
Okay, then my next question is this. Now, as a student, I'm in a school, and maybe there are activities in the school which I'm participating in, and the school is also taking care of me. For instance, when I went for a research study in Japan, I was doing that research at the same time doing research for them. Each presentation I go, the school pays me allowance, and after the allowance, I will use it and send it back to my parents. Let's assume in such situation, the school I'm studying, I have such a idea for them, and they give me little money, and I decide to be remitted back to you people. Is it acceptable at that particular time, or must it be exactly that period you said after school, after graduation?
Okay, so for your repayment plan, we actually expect that you start paying your interest rates while you're in school. So the interest rate on the loan, so that's a good ideology, or that's a good example that you're giving. Yes, ideally we expect that you start paying with the little money you start to get, you start paying your interest rate in school. Then after school, we'll give you 6 months, after graduation, celebrate with the family, look for a job. Then we now expect you to resume paying your interest rate and the principal on your loan. So yes, when you're in school, you're actually required to pay the interest on the loan, because with the interest, if it's just the interest you're paying, it's very little compared to you paying your principal and your interest together, we understand that will be so much of a burden. But when you are done with school, we know that you have more hours to work and then to now repay back the interest and principal on the loan. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, okay, and that is concerning the contact address of the thing. You talk about bank statements. That the bank statements address of the bank statement must tally with what we fill in. Because you also talk about utility bill, asking landlord or whatever. You know, in Nigeria, at times some landlord may not show interest of giving you a kind of recommendation that I will tell you there's none of my business. My business with you, just pay my house rent and pay your NEPA bill. You're coming to write a recommendation and you do this, you do that. Such a situation, how do we handle it?
Like I said, you have a couple of options, right? It's not just restricted to bank statement. It's not just restricted to utility bill. You can actually even put down, so for example, if you have a family house or you have someone that tallies with your surname, you can provide the documents of that person, and then if it's a utility bill, or even if it's a utility bill, you provide the utility bill. It tallies with your surname. You can provide the documents of that person, and then upload or send or communicate with your partnered resource, which is after school. Then you communicate with us, and then you'll be required to send us an email, and of those documentation, we would do our own verification and would move it to the next stage. Again, these documentations are for home country address. Whichever way we can verify where you are staying in that country. You say you're in Nigeria, there are a lot of houses in Nigeria. How can we verify that this is where you're staying in Nigeria? So even if it's someone's document, even if it's a place that tallies with your surname, could be your sister, could be your siblings, could be your mom, your dad. If you don't, it could be anybody really, but tallies with your surname. Let them provide you with their documents. If you cannot assure that your landlord will give you a letter, let them provide you their document. In the document, it will show that the name tallies, right? And then we'll move it to the next stage. If the person is married and the surname is changed, then the marriage certificate will come in place here. So providing all of those will help us validate your own country address.
All right, this is how we will see you privately for it. Thank you.
So I want to ask, if you're able to disburse the loan to the school, and then you get your I-rate meeting and all that, but you still have to understand that visa is also an issue here. So peradventure someone goes for a visa interview and the person did not actually get through. What happens? You need to go to the mind of say responsible to pay people, or I just want to know that. And secondly, I think I'm also in that category of the person that said he got an admission and then the issue of acceptance came on board. So in the scheduled payment that I have, they gave me grace to pay up to June. So, and then this, if I actually apply for Mpower, then I got the loan. I get the loan, so to say. So it means that my acceptance fee has been catered for already. So what can you say to that?
The first question, right? We will not disburse the loan to your school if we are not certain that you can actually come to the US or to Canada. So once your loan has been approved by Mpower, we expect you to upload your visa data page, right? So when you upload that, we send a certification to your school to certify that this person is coming to the school. The information you provided us is the right information, and the amount this person has said this person is paying is the right amount that we have to disburse to the school. So when we send in the certification, internally we check, we get the account details, then when they certify you, then we disburse the loan to the school. So we will not disburse the loan to your school if we haven't gotten that document, that your visa page document. So you won't be in a situation whereby you've not gotten your visa and then you're already in the school, or you're still in Nigeria and you expect to still pay your loan. No, we can't disburse your loan if we haven't gotten that proof of valid visa page that you're coming to school in the US. I hope that answers that. And for the second question, I think we'll have to repeat that second question because it was a bit long. If you repeat that for me.
So my second question is, if I apply for Mpower,
Related to I-20 20 year?
No, related to the acceptance fee. When I applied with my schedule, my payment, so you already know this is how much I'm going to get. Then I get that, and then I'm still expected to pay acceptance fee to the school. So it means that I'm paying more.
So for the acceptance fee, so the first step for your Mpower loan application is to check your loan application, and then you get a conditional offer. Once you get a conditional offer, that's going to require you to start uploading your documents. You can send an email to us to request for a support letter for either your acceptance letter or your visa. For most schools, they will expect you to pay for your acceptance letter regardless of Mpower, right? But because we partner with a lot of schools, some schools will tell you to send the letter and then they will waiver it. But most of the time, you will need to pay for your acceptance fee because the school also wants to see a commitment from your end, regardless of Mpower. Your acceptance fee is different from your tuition fee, is different from your living expenses. So you are required to pay that before we now come to, they provide us an invoice to pay for your tuition and living expenses. Sometimes they will tell you to pay a deposit, a huge amount of deposit. We understand that, which is why we'll provide you that letter. Most of our schools that are listed under Mpower, they take the letter, the support letter we provide you for the school as the evidence that you will be able to pay that deposit because it's coming from a loan institution. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, good morning. You actually touched where what I want to ask. Though, let me still ask again. I want to ask if the loan also covers proof of fund at the embassy.
Okay, so the embassy is a very different entity from Mpower, right?
No, sorry, since you said with the living expenses, one will say proof of fund is also cover the living expenses and all that. So I want to know.
So you would require your proof of fund for the embassy. Like I said, it's a very different entity from Mpower, right? Mpower is giving you the assurance that we're going to pay, if you qualify for an Mpower loan, that will pay for your tuition and living expenses. However, the embassy, they want to know if you're a flight risk or not, right? So what we say is, if you can have that money within the period of time that you need to have it, it doesn't mean that you're using that money for your schooling or for your tuition fee. But we cannot go to the embassy and say that, they are dependent only on our loan when they're in the US. It's a flight risk generally for the US. So I even sort of tend to not want to talk about anything that has to do with visa, because the only thing that we've been able to do to support students is provide you a support letter. But the embassy does not understand that it's only a support letter that will keep you, or that will see that you are less of a flight risk for them. So they want to see that you're also able to, if there's any emergency on any risk, right? Regardless of Mpower, you are able to support yourself in that sense. So you should have your proof of fund. I mean, also ideally thinking you want to travel to another country. Yes, we're paying for your tuition fee and living expenses. There should at least be some money that's set aside for emergencies or any risk that could come up, right? Which is what the embassy will want to see. Again, the embassy is a very different entity from Mpower. Will support you with a support letter, but you need your proof of fund for the embassy.
Not being able to make any payments. Because obviously, personally, I know the importance of having a good credit history. So my question is, if I get to the stage where I have to go through Mpower, do I have an opportunity to explain why? No, of course, do I have an opportunity to explain why I'm having a bad credit history, or whatever the case is, I'm supposed to have a clean report up until that point? That's my question.
Okay, so the credit bureau again is a different entity from Mpower. However, that's why I advise students to come to partners like AfterSchool, right? Because when you go to partners like that, then they're able to feel what the challenges are, and then we'll give you next steps. Like for example, you can send an email, but most likely it won't go through because, like I said, we're using a big data technology that is seeing all the information that you fed to the for your application that you fed to the system. if it's not looking good, we're not getting a collateral from you. If it's not looking, if it's not aligning to what is required in the US, you probably will not kick through. What I can say is you can actually get a letter from the financial institution, or you can provide details of, you just left a job to another job. We will try to see if that process will work, but most of the time, it's a longer process. In fact, your Mpower application might have expired before you get a response, right? But again, you can go through a partner. The partner will reach out to us. We'll take in all those details that you mentioned, and then we'll give you next steps like sending an email. But I would advise that this time, try to settle the challenges you have with your financial institution to the credit bureau before you put in your credit rating, or you click on your NOVA link to put in your credit rating. So resolve that, because these entities are outside of Mpower. So it's going to be very weird for us to see how we can resolve your challenges with your financial institution to your credit bureau. No, that's outside of us. But it's very important that you resolve it before you start, so that you don't have to be sending emails back and forth, and then it takes a longer time. Your application with Mpower then expires.
It's almost like 100% that this guy is getting a loan, but his loan was rejected because he had a delinquent somewhere. And after every effort to try to see if we can reconcile, his application was not accepted. Even after the issue he had has already been resolved, but because he didn't reconcile with the credit bureau, it was not acceptable. So as long as once you have anything with your credit, it's better not to even try, because it's most likely your application will not be accepted. Because like she said, you are not required to provide any collateral and co-signer. So there's nothing, it's a big risk to want to just say, okay, let's try, let's see if because he's sending emails off and on, let's just allow him. It wouldn't work like that. So it's expected that you take care of any credit issues that you have before going ahead with the application.
Your visa has been declined. You're required to send an email to empower.me@empowerfinancing.com, right? Most of the time, for some students, we sort of like prefer the loan, but most of the time it doesn't work. I want to be realistic with you guys now, because your documentations, right, might have expired. So we need you to, be able to re-upload those documents, right, so that we know that they are still valid for when you are getting your new visa. So you can start a new application, but you can start a new application with that same email that you've used, and we will know that the reason why you're starting a new application is because of your visa. And visa issues are very peculiar to Africa, so we take into consideration that, but you can start a new application. And the only reason why you're starting a new application is to validate that your visa or your document or your information are still valid for the application.
Hi. Before we take any other question, we'd like to put up the QR code for the application so you can try your eligibility right now instantly. But then there is a little incentive for the first 20, right? 20 people. So Mpower is giving a chargeback of $25 for the first 20 people who apply and get loan. So once the QR code comes up, you have your phone and $25 is 25K. You can actually buy something at the airport. That's what I did. 5,000 is what I said. So as the QR code comes up, but before that, we have to play a video, a testimonial from one of our candidates who went through AfterSchoolAfrica to get a loan. He's currently studying in Canada. So we would have the video and the QR code, then we'll continue with your question and answer. Right. Thank you.
It's at Rotman School of Management, University of Toronto, Canada. Hi, my name is Amos Alayande, an MBA candidate at Rotman School of Management, University of Toronto, Canada. I'm going to talk about how I financed my MBA education. So sometime in April, I got a newsletter from AfterSchoolAfrica talking about how to finance your postgraduate education. I signed up for the event. In the event, I learned about Mpower Finance, I signed up for it as well, and I, started the process. Now, After School Africa really helped in terms of clarifying the documents I needed. They also helped in terms of fast-tracking responses from Mpower Finance. Okay. At the end of the day, I got the loan from Mpower Finance. In addition to that, I also got a visa support letter, which I used as part of my proof of fund during my visa application. Lastly, so I'm right here, yes, studying. Okay, so I would really recommend After School Africa as a resource that you can use to get, to finance your postgraduate education. I wish you the very best. Thank you.
So we have the QR code. This is Amos, one of our students who is currently studying in Canada. He left in September 2023. So that's for you to understand that this things is possible. So I know someone asked the question of if you can, if the embassies frown at using loans to study, right? So this is a proof that you can actually use a loan to study. So we have the QR code. The first 20 people get a cashback, $25. So I think we can continue with the question and answer at this point.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chibuike. So I have a few questions here. On the After School Africa email I got, part of the requirements was a financial statement. Right, so my questions are, so first of all, do you have to have a financial statement? And then secondly, how much has to be in the statement for your application? And then one more question, right? Does your work experience affect like the success of your application? Let's say you work at a multinational or something, does that help? Those are my three questions, thank you.
Okay, so yes, for your work experience, we have so many different documentations that you need to provide or different answers that you need to provide. You might be strong with your CGPA, right? And not be so strong with your work experience. So it would eventually balance itself out with your university's transcript, maybe 100% for us, but your work experience might be maybe a 75%. It would eventually balance itself out. But I usually tell people that any way you can articulate your work experience to seem good, right? You might be working as even a salesperson, but it depends on how you articulate how you were working there, right? That's what would, help you. So it would eventually balance itself out. Just ensure that if you're not so strong with one part like your work experience, be strong with your CGPA, right? So ensure that it will balance itself out for an Mpower loan. You want to also ensure that you actually have the ability to provide a proof of fund for your visa, right? We don't require your financial statement for anything really. It's just to show.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Oyindamola, and I have two questions. And like that, I don't know how true that is. I wanted to clarify on that. And the second question is, so let's say I had two admissions for the same course, and one is a 1-year course and the other is a 2-year course. Do you think that picking the 2-year course increases my chances of getting an Mpower loan, considering the fact that maybe people might not really get enough time to settle down and balance if they picked the one with 1 year, term? So those are my two questions: credit rating, and does length matter when it comes?
So for your credit rating, she chose to take a loan because she attended a program in credits, a program for credit bureau. That's why it's not Mpower stating that go for a loan before you apply for an Mpower loan, right? It would come if you've not gone for a loan, it will come in. We would know that you've not gone for a loan. Like I said, there are so many requirements, right? One will outweigh the other, right? And then it will balance off. Most of the time, it's really good for you to have a credit rating. But Empire is not saying go and borrow a loan so that you can get a good credit rating. No, that's not the advice that we're giving. But if you do and you have a good one, most likely, you have the 80% push of going through, right? But if you don't, we're also checking other information that will guide us through. That's why sometimes we'll be really adamant on own country address. Some people, will go and bring one address that does not tally, but still you don't even have a credit history. So what are you really helping us to ensure that you have a good standing for us to provide you a loan? The second one is the land. You just need to be within 2 years of graduation. You could be going for a 12-month program, good. 24-month program, good. It's not dependent on the length. It's dependent on, honestly, the cost, but not dependent on the length. Like I said, for STEM programs, they are of high value compared to, if you're going for like, I'm trying to think of one, psychology or all those. Is STEM program, we know that they are still relevant in the job market in the next, 10 years. I remember I was 10 years for 10 years. We don't want you to not be relevant in the next 8 years, 7 years, and you now struggle to pay for your loan again. So the length of the program is not, the length of the program is a determinant. If you are going for a program that is more than 2 years, you're not eligible, but less than 2 years or 2 years, you're eligible for a loan.
Before I to Mpower. So you have to go and check if I graduated within the past 2 years before you give it to me.
No. When I say graduation within 2 years, it means that whatever you get the admission on, whatever program it is, if it's data science and it's an 18-month program, that's less than 2 years, you're eligible for an Mpower loan. So it's not the length of when you graduated for your undergrad to now. No, that's not it. I mean 2 years within the program that you're applying for, right? So 2 years or less for your master's program or your PhD.
Okay, so we also need a proof that whichever address we're providing, how to prove that and live there or belongs to us or not.
Yes. So for some people there is no utility bill. You can't provide us the utility bill if your name is Lola. You can't provide us the utility bill of Abi. You get, so it's not correlating. So whatever document you are providing to us for your own country address, it needs to tally with your name. You can't provide someone else's documentation to replace your own country address. And even if you are providing someone else's documentation, you need to upload that person's documentation to us, meaning maybe international passport, like a proof of ID of that person for us to put. And that person needs to be a family member.
So just select conference. If you expand the drop down, there's a section to select conference or workshop, something like that. So select that in that section.
Okay. Yeah. So concerning credit, right? Is there a particular criteria that is used for credit? So is it like a credit score? Is it I want to see a single rate in your report? That's the end. And then how far back does the credit criteria last? So is it for a 12-month period? If someone has a bad credit report, when next can they apply? And my final question is there any particular preference that is given to people who apply through your partners?
Okay, so for the preference, $25, you're getting it just because of an AfterSchoolAfrica event, right? And there are other incentives that will be implemented for partners. But I think if I'm putting myself in the position of a student, because I have a partner that will guide me on the documents I'm uploading, or what I would need, or if this is the right thing, I think it's good enough for you to want to go with a partner, so that you're not being declined because of maybe mismatch of information, or you did not provide a document. Your partner resource is already giving you that information, right? It's an information that an Mpower customer relations person will not necessarily sit down with you to be looking. Do you understand? Because we provided you those details. So I think that's one reason why you should go for like a partner. For your credit rating is for us to check for your score, right? And then there are other internal checks that we do, especially with credit bureau. right? So those are internal checks. But the goal is just ensure you have a good credit score. If you've not borrowed a loan before, ensure that your credit rating is not showing that you've borrowed a loan. Make sure that you finalize all of those details with your financial institution so that it's reflecting properly on your credit rating, right? I don't know if I've answered all your questions. So yeah, for you to try again, it takes about 3 to 6 months. Yeah. After one application. Yes. Yes. If you have a delinquency, we are going to already reject your application. So you need to go back. You need to go and sort out your delinquency and then start your application in the next 3 months. Mhm.
How far back does Mpower look at and the person who can try March and then the last 12 months
If you
have bad
if you have a delinquency, it simply means that it's probably because you not paid for a particular loan that you have currently, right? So when you repay that loan, it would reflect back if your financial institution has updated back to your credit bureau, right? So it's depending on when you repay back the money, right? How far back is when the credit bureau provides us credit.
someone has paid, but that payment the person didn't pay. If I have a friend who's manager, even though I have something, but he's showing that he was very paying, was paying for it. So those 3 months in between, we count.
Oh, so there's a way we rate that particular delinquency when it comes to your credit rating. It depends on the rating that we provide for that because there are very different situations to that, right? So, like I said, things balance things out. If it's in such a way that when you borrowed the money, it took a very long time before you repaid back. Maybe say it took like 3 years before you pay back. That's a major red light for us. Well, definitely, you're probably going to be declined, right? Because your rating already would go below our ideal credit rating, right? So it needs to be a thing of if you are repaying back your loan, it's within the period of time that you had agreed to pay back for. Because the system is very sensitive. So if we're seeing that you're taking a while to repay back your loan, it simply means that there's a potential that you can do the same with our loan too, right? So that's why it's very important to have a good credit history. Ensure that whenever it is you were supposed to repay back your loan, you pay it back your loan. However, if it's just like a month defect, it will reflect on your credit history. It will be bad, but might not be as bad as we will take. But most of the time, because we're not getting collateral, what we are depending on at this document, it is your credit history. Ensure it is good. If you've not gotten any, ensure it's reflecting that you've not gotten any loan in your home country.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for the clarification. I don't know if you might have answered my question, but I would still like to ask once again. It's simple. I would like to know, since you have universities that you partner with, does the loan cover even from the application fee for some universities to request for application? So me applying for the loan, does it mean everything from the application fee is covered?
Your application fee is different from your tuition fee and your living expenses. Mpower covers only your tuition and fee and your living expenses. However, for some Ivy League schools and some really expensive schools, you could request that we provide you a support letter to pay for that. But most of the time, you will need to pay for your um, for your admissions fee because the school too wants to see a commitment from your end, right? So you will have to pay for your admission fee and then we cover your tuition and living expenses.
Good morning.
Yeah, so for deposits, you will provide you a support letter, right? Then you send to the school. Remember, all the schools they partner with us. So the moment they get our support letter, they know that it's a loan like supporting your tuition fee. So that would come with that loan that you're getting for your tuition fee. That's what the deposit.
Hi, good afternoon. Yeah, my name is Godfrey, and I asked some few questions I want to talk about. Yeah, so the first one is about the application and the duration. Like, let me see if I start applying now. If I start my application now, how many months can I use for while doing the application? Like, let me say my school that I apply for, let me say it's December next year. Should I start the application now, or I should chill to like the other time, like reach the other time?
You can start your application now. My advice is maybe you wait till like January because of
Based on what you said now. So I tried this league, I know, and the school I want to apply for, let me say I want to start 2025, based on the fact that I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, 10 things to do at the moment. And so I'm like January 2025, I put it there, and I put my, obviously since it's going to be a master's study, it's going to like take, let me say, maximum of 2 years. So I put it like I'm going to end like 2026 December. You get, and putting it there on the Mpower application that I just accessed now, they say that I'm ineligible, basically. You happen to be smart, you get, and they say that and actually appreciate the customer experience right now, because they actually give me a reason on my email now that the reason why I was ineligible was that my end date is more than 24 months. So that means if I actually want to apply for this Mpower application issue and the rest, it has to be close to 2 months. I say 2 months, 2 years, basically. That's what I got from the mail here.
You've just contradicted yourself because you said you kept 2025. So when they say 2 months, it's because of it's more than 24 months. That's because your start date for your program to your end date is more than 2 years. So check what you kept for your start date, calculate it properly. And from what you said, you're not even sure of the duration of your program. Why don't you go and research about the school first and the program you're going for? Check for their actual start date and end date. Impute it there. You contradicted yourself by saying that means you need to wait for 2 years. You didn't have to wait for 2 years now. If you
what I meant when I said 2 years was they expect my end date to be 2 years from now.
No, that's not correct.
That's not correct.
So there's something, what you kept for your start date for your program to your end date for your program is higher than 2 years. That's why you're getting that. So go and check that school, check what their start date is, or just open your calculator, put 2025 when you want to start your program to when you want to end it to ensure that it's within 2 years.
One more thing, I got that from the mail also that for me to try again, I have to wait for 90 days.
Yes, which is what I said.
So I have to wait for 90 days now like this now. It's set up now. It's set up.
So see what our advice is. First, you are applying for a Mpower loan without even researching on a school or a program you want to study. So it's out of assumption that you applied for your loan for, right? Because you had to. It's out of assumption that you apply for your loan for. What our advice is, you can apply with another email address. But this time around, do your proper research on the program you want to go for, on the school you want to go for. You might have not even started applying for the school, but you have that correct information that you are going to impute to check for your eligibility.
Okay, so we actually have the same issue. We're in the same boat. So we tried it because of the $25 charge. So
use another email.
Exactly. So we just tried. We wanted to see, and now it's looking like as if we have to pay for it now. We have to wait for another 3 months.
Like I said, you can use another email, but before you use another email, first you want to apply for a loan for a school, but you've not done your research on the school you want to even go for, or the program you want to study, or how long the program is, right? Yeah. It's already bothering you that you're even applying for a loan in the first place. Yes, before you apply for a loan, you need to know if you're eligible for the loan, right?
Like giving me a grace period to get a job and start paying for the interest.
Yes, there is. Most of the time, it's 3 months grace period, right? However, before your loan is being confirmed, there is usually like a repayment plan that you would agree with your customer relations officer, right? That repayment plan will state when you are starting the loan. Because what we've noticed is province from province are very different, especially in the US and in Canada. Some province, some visa will require you to start within a certain period of time, while start working within a certain period of time. So we'll take into consideration of all of those information before we can now tell you to start paying for your loan. But remember, before the loan is being disbursed to your school, there's that agreement first, right? You would even see it in your final offer. There's that agreement on when you will start. Then if you have any concerns, I used to tell students, ensure you send an email to empower.me at empowerfinancing.com, because we will take you as priority because your loan has been approved already. All you need to do is, confirm your repayment plan, sign your final offer, or any concerns that you have about your repayment plan, you send it to that email, or you reach out to your partner resource, and then they feed us back that feedback, and then we're able to provide the support that you need at that point.
Sorry, a quick one, please. A quick one. The first thing I want to know about credit rating, because credit rating comes in percentage, like 60, 70, and then, like I checked my credit rating right now, I got 65%. Is that a good pathmark to actually go ahead and apply?
Send an email to empower.me at empowerfinancing.com to confirm the information, right?
Okay. The last one, the partner issue. I think it's fine we go through a partner because of challenges like this. I want to know if there are commitments on our part to actually. You did get that point?
Oh, yes. The commitment.
Is there going to be a commitment on our part because we're going through partners who are going to be like after schools? Then they listen to us more of the time, but then are there commitments on our part?
Yes, that was why we played that video. You watched the video we played. We stepped out when we played the video. That was someone we worked with. We eventually got a loan. In fact, his story was that his loan was initially rejected, but it wasn't for delinquents. We looked at it and was the reason that we felt we could sort of challenge with Mpower, and after going back and forth, he eventually got the loan. So that's the part a partner plays. Now we have instances where people attend our maybe bachelor meetings and then they go ahead to Mpower and apply on their own. And then when issues come up, they come back to us and ask us to help out. By the time we look through the database, we wouldn't see their information there. And we tell them we can't help you because you didn't register with us. We fed you the information, we gave you all the details, and you said to go and apply on your own. So you have to deal with it as it comes. So that is, there is a role the partner plays. That's why we have programs like this. It's better you apply to a partner. It's easier for the partner to help you take care of issues when it comes up. So if you had any challenge, anybody here who had a challenge with registering, with applying? So there's a website, you can just give it the link if you had issue with scanning the QR code, bits.ly. Commitment, money, is that what you're talking about? You don't pay us anything. You don't pay us a copy, a penny for the service. It's 100% free. Yes. Huh? We are the second king. Did you pay to be here? Did you pay to attend this event? You didn't pay. In the same way, you don't have to pay for us to help you through the program. That's why we are partners. Who? Someone said you have to pay. Not here. No, you don't have to pay us anything. For the loan, not for study, for loan. Yes, of course. We have the contact was mentioned in the whichever way you heard about this program, our contact was mentioned there. Or you can take the number here, 0818 445 0903. Yeah, of course, I'll go as many as you want. 0818 445 0903. And it's also at you all got the jotter, so it's also there. Yeah, the number is there too. Yes.
First, your eligibility for an Mpower loan is, if you scan the code, it's for you to check. They'll ask you your start date, your end date, which is within 2 years. Make sure your school is within the school that are partnered with and all of that. Then you can start your application. So I think your question is if you'll be approved for an Mpower loan or not. No, so if you've never had a credit rating, it will come back to us that you've never had one. You would see that information, right? Like I said, information to balance out the other ones. Your work experience, for example, might show that after school you started working, you've been working in so place, your CGPA might be good, the other documentations required from you might be really good, right? You will balance each other out and then you're good to go, right? So generally, to have a credit rating, right? If you have a good credit rating, meaning you've gotten a loan already showing that you are good to go. It's just like saying that there is somebody that you have money and then your friend comes to you to come and borrow money from you. This person has borrowed money from you previously and paid back, so you are confident to give that person money. But however, this person has not borrowed money from you at all. We would now take more attention on looking at some certain documents in order to now say that, oh yeah, you're good to go. For someone that borrowed loan so many times and then paid back, there are some documents that will fly and just even verify. But for you that you have one, there are some documents will be very adamant on, like home country address, ensuring that some documentation you give us concerning your own country is very correct because we know that you're a flight risk because you've never borrowed money before and we don't know your pattern of borrowing money. So that's why we say it's good for you to have borrowed. We're not saying you can't borrow money for the purpose of Mpower, no. But just ensure that even if you've not borrowed money, other documentations are good for you to go. For us to be able to say that, oh, we don't know this person's borrowing pattern, but we have information of this person that we can properly verify.
Our time is almost up. Maybe after the meeting you can meet any of us and myself or is here, the other is also here to ask the question. Because if we continue with the question, we may not have to leave. Please put your hands together for this lady. So if you were not able to scan the QR code, the link is bit.ly/bit.ly/NOV 2023. That's NOV for November. That's today's date. 18 NOV 2023. So that brings us to the end of today's session, the morning session. And if anyone here came with their documents, so you have your international passport, your admission letter, your proof of address, your CV, then you can go over there and we'll just help you with the entire registration for free. You don't have to pay. All right, so thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Questions? Like I said, you can meet any of us after the session.